Hello and welcome. My name's Kathy A, and today I thought I would do the tag that's been going around for ages and ages, and I'm probably the last person to do it. It's been a busy month. I'm so sorry it hasn't been released sooner. So this is the eyeshadow palette tag, and I have the two originators of this year's version listed below, so you can click on their videos and see the original. And I added, I think, one question at the end. I think that was the only one. Let's get started because there's, I think, 13 questions, and I added one at the end. Now, I have to kind of preface this whole video by saying that I've been doing YouTube videos since 2013, and I have probably gone through hundreds, if not thousands, of eye palettes. So any given time, I'm rotating different palettes through, and as they get older, I either give them away or I dispose of them. And so what's in my collection now is kind of, I don't want to say stale, I'll just say that I haven't bought a lot of palettes this year. I think there are other palettes that are better than what I'm going to talk to you about today, but they don't happen to be in my collection right now. So I'm just showing you the examples for each of these categories with the palettes I have in my present collection. And once I use these up, I will start to collect the palettes I really wish I had instead. So, show your newest palette. This is Jeffree Starr's Cremated palette, and I received this a while back. The packaging is super cute. I mean, there's little urns on the outside box of the packaging, not just on the inside, and it is a white marble, looks like a tombstone kind of thing for the theme. And then the inside is a picture of Jeffree Starr, and if you look closely, his face is turning cremated to ash. I got this palette because the Jeffree Starr palette quality is usually pretty well up there, and I've really not been disappointed in the quality of his shadows. I just haven't always liked the color story in his palettes, and I do have others. My friend Sharon just sent me the Blood Sugar palette, and quite frankly, I like this much more than this. I bought this palette because I really liked the cool tone shades, and I thought that I would be able to do a lot of functional looks with this palette because it has so many cool tone shades. But what I found with a lot of the shimmers and things is that they're just so glittery. Some of the shimmery shades that I thought would be a really nice, beautiful shimmer turned out to be just a thin layer of glitter, and it got everywhere. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I do like the mattes. I have to say that I own this Jessie's Girl palette, and this has a lot of the same colors as the Jeffree Starr, and I'm telling you, they last just as well. So the mattes are no big deal that are in here. If you're really looking for an unusual color, then this has everything you're looking for. It has undertones that are slightly less gray, if that makes sense, as kids say today. This color was the one I thought would be a nice base color, but what it is it's very, very shimmery, and it turns into a very light shimmery kind of color, and it doesn't look as ivory as it does here. So I was disappointed in this shade. I was kind of counting on this shade to warm things up a little bit on the brow bone or whatever, and it wasn't there. This is the Burial Gown color. But I will show you the swatches for this palette, and I'll just say that if you are looking for some very unique, cool tone colors, you've got them in here. If you're looking to make an eye look out of this, it's a one-trick pony. You can only make this kind of grayish blue, black looking eye. You can't really make anything but a grayish blue, black looking eye. And I know he's very creative with his stuff, but you get a postcard too with this, which is kind of interesting. Has a picture of the palette on one side and him on the other. Yeah, I like the little imprints. They have a hearse, they have an urn, they have a star with a little halo over it like he's gone by. A tombstone. Yeah, I'm disappointed in this, let's just say. And you can't return his palettes. Now you can do like a crease color, but it is awfully grayish. It pulls very gray. The grays pull very blue-gray, so you wind up with a blue-gray look. You don't get kind of the look I think you want from this. When I'm thinking cool tones, I'm thinking a different sort of thing. So this was a total fail for me, and I'm keeping it because there are some unusual colors in here that I do like, but I would never recommend it. And with the shipping, and I had to wait quite a while for it to arrive, it came to $72, and that's a lot of money for just a few interesting colors in my collection. So my newest palette is probably my least favorite in this group. Your oldest palette. I keep buying this, so it is my oldest, but I don't think they're going to make this anymore. This is the Kat Von D, formerly Kat Von D, now it's just KVD Beauty Shade and Light palette. This is the original Kat Von D version. I've hit pan in at least one of the colors here. I love this palette. This is my favorite palette of all time. I'm sad that now it doesn't look like they're making this again. They're saying they will, but I haven't seen it yet. And I think maybe they're just working on new packaging or whatever, but I hope they re-release this. Makeup Revolution did put out a copycat version of this, and I did like that. But it's very difficult to find that now. I can't find it anywhere. It's not on the website or anything. So the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, I've had it since it came out. I've bought like 3 of them, so it's kind of my oldest palette if you want to talk it that way. And I'm gonna miss it. Your most expensive palette. It was at one point, I had a Natasha Denona palette, and I returned it because I just cannot encourage that kind of price gouging. So I never reviewed it, I never talked about it, I just returned it. So next in line would have been my Viseart, which I gave away because it was starting to get older and I wasn't reaching for it. I had the $175 Pro palette from Viseart. That was my most expensive, but now my most expensive was this one, and it is Jeffree Star again. It's the Conspiracy palette, and I do like this palette actually. It does have a casket-like casing. His packaging is quite unique. Again, high quality, interesting colors, and what's nice is that these colors do not translate as starkly neon as they appear. So I just wanted to put a few of the colors from my most expensive palette just to show you that they translate slightly differently when you use them in an eye look. So they may seem ultra bright and neon, but they actually don't go on your eye that way, and you can tone down everything. And I think you can use a lot of unusual colors if you just use a little touch of them, and you can go over them with a lighter shade or beige or pale pink, and you can wind up with a very pretty eye look from this. Just gonna put this on the inner corner so it catches the light. So I do like the quality of his shadows. I mean, this one, it's just so pretty, you know, it's just gorgeous. and I don't know if I can put that on there or not. It's going to ruin the eye look I have. Let's see, we'll just do this. So, yeah, they're fun to play with. They've got really interesting colors. I find they are a little expensive, but they are extremely high quality. The packaging is super cute. It is difficult to store these things. And just for ha-has, this did initially cost the same as the Conspiracy palette. However, this was sent to me by a kindly Sharon Hardy sent it to me, and I really like this. This is the Blood Sugar palette, so it is equally as expensive as Conspiracy, but it has a more functional, usable, everyday sort of quality that the other palettes do not. There are more kind of neutral colors in here that you can use for a regular eye. Your most affordable palette, of course, is the Wet n Wild palettes. I think have always been affordable and high quality. Now this one is Rosé in the Air, and I really like this. It's got your light shade, your crease shade, you've got some dark shades, you've got a little bit of color, you've got some warmth if you need it. It's an all-year palette. And this was on sale. I think it's originally like $4.99 and it was on sale for like $2.99 or something like that. I used a coupon with it, so it's my cheapest palette, but it's not by far the worst palette. I think it's a really nice palette. And if you haven't used Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes, these are the best ones to have a look at. They have some really nice ones, and the little quad palettes are really excellent. Your everyday palette, there's kind of a tie here, and one of them is drugstore and one of them is a little more high-end. The high-end everyday, and I reached for this for many years. I bought a couple of them over the years. I let it go for a while. I somehow think the formula has changed a little bit. It feels cheaper now, but either way, I like this palette. This is Too Faced's Chocolate Bar palette. Obvious purpose here. I love the little decoration there. Nice little mirror inside. You've got two large palette sizes here of both a brow bone shimmer and a base shade that you can use all over the lid, and I like that a lot. You've got really nice crease shade options. You've got some shimmers in here. You've got a nice dark shade or a nice dark wine shade that you can use in the corners. You've got a pop of purple, you've got some pink, some warm shades, you've got some really nice shimmers to line under the eyes with, or to add in the center of the lid to brighten things up. I think it's a really nice everyday go-to palette, and it's kind of sad if they have changed the formulation on this. It's kind of sad that they have, because this was a standby for many of us back in 2013, 2014 when I first started. This was the big thing. So tied with Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette is the drugstore version, and that is the Milani Soft and Sultry palette. This is a really nice assortment of very neutral colors, very usable, wearable, everyday colors, and hence the everyday palette. I think this is a really nice thing. You've got mattes and shimmers in here, and some darks, mediums, and light range in both of those finishes. So I think this is like one of the most perfect drugstore palettes. My eyes, to start with today, were done with this before I ruined them with my Jeffree Star editions. The next question is, what is your most colorful palette? And this is another tie, and it's drugstore and, well, drugstore and drugstore. The first one is the Magnifies palette, and these are popular. I think every year, right around June, when it's Gay Pride Month, they come out with colorful palettes, and I bought this one last year. I haven't dipped into it much, but I do like the assortment of colors. I can't make one eye look from a palette like this, I actually have to dip into other palettes for some neutral shades to kind of balance things out. But this is the Rimmel Magnifies Rainbow palette, I believe. Really nice assortment of colors in here. Only missing some of those mustards, which I don't really miss those. Now, It's My Ray Ray was a BH Cosmetics collaboration, and she had some very wonderful, colorful colors here. And actually, there are some very doable mattes as well, but it's mostly kind of shimmery and colorful. I see a lot of colors. I love the blues and the purples in here, and I do dip into them from time to time. I don't use this palette a lot, but I do like the shades. And the yellow is really pretty. This particular yellow is awfully pretty. Let's see if I can put it in the center here. Just to add a little drama to the eye look. So it's pretty nice. It's My Ray Ray, and that's a collab. I think you can find this now like in a TJ Maxx or something. I don't know that BH Cosmetics still sells this or not. What is your smallest palette? These tiny little e.l.f. palettes are adorable, and I'm really enjoying. This is the Carnival Food. What is it? Carnival Candy is the name of this particular one. I can make a cohesive eye look from this, and the shades are very pigmented. They blend nicely together, and I think it's a great deal. I think it's only around $3 or $4 for this, so it actually is probably the most inexpensive palette as well on an everyday basis, but it's also the smallest, so I chose the Wet n Wild for the most affordable because I think for the quality, the Wet n Wild really beats out e.l.f. But this particular series, and there are 3 or 4 other palettes with different color stories to them, they're really good. What is your largest palette? Right now, my largest is from LA Girl, and I bought this probably about 6 months ago. I think this is a stunning arrangement. This is Born Exclusive is the name of this palette. It is still available in CVS. You can find it there. I have hit pan on a couple of the colors. I do use this palette a lot actually, and it's got a really nice assortment of different colors and basics as well. So I think this was a home run for LA Girl for being an inexpensive palette, and I think it's under $20. You can get this palette. It's still available, and I still see it at the CVS. And if you have CVS cash, you know, then they give you the bucks. You could use them towards this. So I think the LA Girl palette is an excellent all-around palette. You've got a little bit of everything in here. Show your palette with the best memory. Hands down, it's this one. I love Game of Thrones, and I did a video on Game of Thrones, and I made like little skits, and I used different segments of this eye palette and kind of reenacted scenes that are similar to the Game of Thrones characters. So this Game of Thrones collaboration was done with Urban Decay. They were licensed to do it. I think they kind of blew it with the products they actually did create. However, I like this eye palette, and I dip into it often. It's got a nice mirror, a little bit of a saying. You pull it up. You've got the throne itself, which, fabulous. And then you have the pull-out eye palette, which has the 4 houses or the 4 sections. You do have the hard home, which has the White Walker stuff in it, and I played a White Walker in my video. You have Winterfell, which has the Sansa lipstick, and you know, they have the nice earth tone colors. You have the King's Landing, which are the golden rich colors of the castle and the rich family, and then you have the Day of Dragons. You have kind of the Targaryen household where our little queen, whom we followed her whole life, had the really interesting colors with dragon kind of theme to them. I love this palette, I do. And right now you can find this in hotlick.com, or you can find it in Nordstrom Rack. It's running around $18 to $28 depending on where you get it. This was quite expensive when I got it. I bought it, I think I bought it privately so that I could get it, because it sold out like within a couple of minutes of being released. And now, after Game of Thrones has been over for a while, nobody talks about this anymore, and it's still one of my favorite palettes. I love it. It's great. It's got beautiful colors in here. Beautiful. Palette worth the hype. Gosh, I hate to do this too, because I don't like Norvina. I don't like her. And I don't like the fact that ABH or Anastasia Beverly Hills releases a new palette like every week and a half, it seems. But this one stuck with me. This is the Norvina palette. It's all spotted because I had sprayed disinfectant everywhere, and I used the wrong disinfectant on it, so I actually kind of ruined some of the colors, but I have sprayed them and wiped them down since. This is the Norvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This has got some really good basics plus a little bit of oomph to them. This is a palette that I can use every day, and it's a palette that I can glam up or work down. You do get the pop of blue that Beauty News always rips apart. They hate that. They hate a pop of blue. Okay, palette not worth the hype. There's two here, and they're a hard tie. The first one, you may not like me for this. This is the Tartlet in Bloom from Tarte Cosmetics. A lot of people name this as their best palette, and I keep giving it a chance and I keep not liking it. It's just not enough pigmentation for me. It's boring, and yeah, you can make a few looks from it, but I think it takes a little bit of work to blend the colors. I always wind up getting sort of a muddy look from it, and I just don't think it's worth the hype. I don't. And it smells like a strong kind of white chocolate smell, so I don't know if I really like that either. I don't know if I need to have chocolate in my eyeshadow. So Tartlet is one of those things I think is way overhyped. A lot of people think this is like the #1 palette in the world, and I just have to disagree with that. It is tied closely with this one. This is Too Faced, the Natural Nudes palette. When I saw it, I immediately wanted to order it because it just looks so good online. It does have a nice large mirror, and from a distance, it looks like it has a lot of possibilities for eye looks. But these two in the lighter range here are, this is just a light coating of glitter. It's hardly even noticeable on the eyes, and this is hardly pigmented at all. Look at that. You don't even see it. It's so light and not pigmented. I didn't like this, and I did go into details about this when I did my end of month review. Towards the end of the spectrum here, I like these two darker shades. The dark red is nice, but some of these are just not pigmented enough, and you can really do only one eye look with this, two tops. So I don't think it's worth it. I don't like the lack of pigmentation or opaqueness in these lighter shades, and that ruins the whole palette for me, because if you can't do something really nice with the lighter shades on your eyes, then it's kind of not worth it. So no, I like the idea of it. I don't know who has a skin tone this color. It is a pink shimmer color. I don't know who has that. Or this color, this kind of orangey shimmer color. So I don't know. I think it was a nice idea, but it failed. It failed badly for me. So yeah. Show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. I'm going to go off the beaten path here because I think that the best palette in the world is the one you select yourself. With quality single eyeshadows, you create your own palette. And Makeup Geek, now they have square palettes, but they have some great eyeshadows. They have good quality eyeshadows. Buxom does as well. MAC does as well. And I would say the best palette from a favorite brand is singles from Makeup Geek or from MAC or from Buxom. I can't say one palette from any other one brand because they all have something missing in the palette. They're not my choices. They're not my selection. There's always one or two shades in there I never use. So I think the best way to go if you're starting out, you want to have a really good makeup collection, is to create your own palettes. And this was just created with some of her sale shades just before she transferred into the new system with the square shades. These are her older shades, and I'm really pleased with this assortment. It makes a perfect cohesive eye. There's my Papa Blue. And you know, you got a really nice crease shade. You know, I just think that Makeup Geek makes a good quality eyeshadow. Show your most used palette. This is a tie again, and I love Viseart shadows, and I use both of these palettes all the time. These are my favorites. I take them both traveling. The little one here, the Petite Pro 3, it has some great shades. I have hit pan on at least one of them, but you've got your light matte shade here, which I hit pan on. You've got your crease shade, you've got a dark shade for the corner, you have a black for eyeliner or whatever. You've got some shimmer shades, a pop of color, you've got a nice shimmer here. Everything you need for a perfect eye look, night or day, is in this palette. And this is the Petite Pro 3. This is my favorite. And again, from spraying it with the disinfectant, I've ruined the case on both of these. The other one is the Rose Edit palette. You can get these, I think they're still both available on Sephora. You've got a nice little mirror there. This one has a few more shades than the other, and a little bit more, there is a little bit more warm tone to the light shade. Perfect crease color, perfect dark shade, and then you've got a nice assortment of shimmer shades that will kind of zap up your look, including a light purple and a light blue. But I love this bronzy color for lining under the eyes. I love lining under the eyes with that. And then you've got these kind of orangey red tones for the summer, for fall. This is a really nice palette. Why they call it the Rosé Edit is confusing to me because I don't see a rosé color here at all. None of these colors are rosé, really. Close, but that's from Viseart, my favorite brand, actually. Show your best dupe palette, and I think Emily Noel added that question. I don't know if it was on the original or not. There are a couple copycat brands that do a really good job. Alter Ego is one of them. Bad Habit was another one. I think Bad Habit then became Alter Ego when they closed the website, the Hush website, down. But C-Color is another brand that does a lot of copycat palettes, and this is a copycat of Too Faced Clover palette, and this is called Fairy Tales, and all the colors match almost identically with the Too Faced colors. You got a nice mirror here. Packaging is a metallic plastic kind of thing. Cute cover. Nice assortment of shades and shadows. You have some plain ones you can do, a base eye, and then you've got some shimmers. I love this light green. I think this is just so pretty. So there are assorted colors in here that I think are just beautiful on their own. They're standalone, and I do go to this palette for individual colors. I don't take this palette as a standalone, but I think it's a wonderful dupe for the Too Faced Clover palette. So that is my take on the eyeshadow palette tag that's going around here in 2020. And again, it's kind of slim pickings until I can get out into the Sephoras and the Ultas again and swatch things, and or maybe we can't swatch things anymore, but I can see them close up. I hope you all are having a wonderful week and have a beautiful day. Take care. Toodles.